The starry language war turns into a huge political showdown. Former Chief Minister of Karnataka, H.D. Kumaraswamy, has trained guns on actor Ajay Devgn, calling him a BJP mouthpiece for BJP's Hindi nationalism and One India, One Language for his recent controversial remarks on the use of Hindi as a national language that led to a fierce Twitter brawl. Upping the ante against considering Hindi as the national language, Kumaraswamy said, and I quote, that there is no fault in Kannada actor Sudeep's statement, and Ajay Devgn is not only hyper in nature but also shows ludicrous behavior through these statements. He further added, Devgn must realize that Kannada cinema is outgrowing Hindi film industry. Because of encouragement by Kannadigas, Hindi cinema has grown. Devgn should not forget that his first movie, Fool or Kaate, ran for a year in Bengaluru. Political showdown explodes with this recent political attack on the ongoing language war.
The recently raging language war has taken an explosive turn after two superstars of Indian cinema jumped at a flashpoint over Hindi being endorsed as the national language. South's megastar Kiccha Sudeep and Bollywood heavyweight Ajay Devgn dived into a Twitter war in a savage verbal duel. It all sparked off with Sudeep speaking in an exclusive interview with India Today's Karnataka Tak on the roaring success of recent South films like KGF 2, RRR and Pushpa. Sudeep stressed on how regional cinema has cracked the success formula pan-India, while Hindi cinema is seen struggling, candidly adding that Hindi is no more the national language.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is pan-India? So which is having a better reaction from the audiences today? ಇವತ್ತು ನೀವು ಪುಷ್ಪ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನೀವು KGF ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗೆದ್ರು. ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಎವ್ರಿವೇರ್.
Ajay Devgn on attack mode swooped in and clapped back with an emotionally assertive retort on Twitter, written in Hindi, stating, Hindi is our mother tongue and will always be our national language. What turned this debate explosive was Ajay Devgn's sharp jibe on why South stars dubbed their films in Hindi if they didn't regard Hindi as the national language. India Today was first to break on this Twitter war with the superstars, a never-seen-before debate between cinema heavyweights.
We've got a big breaking story coming in between Bollywood and the Kannada film industry. It's a huge, huge superstar language war that has now erupted between Kannada superstar Kiccha Sudeep and Bollywood star Ajay Devgn. This is already a very sensitive issue, but to call South cinema that does well in the North pan-India has clearly touched a raw nerve. So, you know, Sudeep reacting in this way is in some senses pretty understandable at this time. Nabila.
You know, Shiv, what we see of the Southern stars and the frustration that comes is from this constant imposition of Hindi to be pushed as a national language. From what we hear from the actors of the South, which they say time and again, is that they're not against the language of Hindi at all. They're just against the fact that there is a push for one language to become a national language. The same way if there's a push for Kannada to become a national language, you have the Hindi belt, which will not be okay with it. That's the same way if you push for a Hindi, a North India language, a North Indian language to be considered as a national pan-India language, the South will not be okay with it. Kiccha Sudeep followed up with a sharp comeback on Twitter. Known to mince no words, Sudeep fired back, wondering if Ajay understood had Sudeep tweeted in Kannada.
Sir Ajay Devgn, I did understand the text you sent in Hindi. That's only because we all have respected, loved and learnt Hindi. No offense, sir, but was wondering what would the situation be if my response was typed in Kannada. Don't we too belong to India, sir?
Ajay Devgn finally tried to douse the fire, calling the controversy a message lost in translation. As expected, the clash of cinema titans spiraled into a political feast. Karnataka leader of opposition Siddaramaiah pounced in, saying Hindi was never and will never be our national language. Former actor and politician Divya Spandana aka Ramya too joined in the bandwagon, attacking Ajay Devgn, calling his comments baffling.
No, Hindi is not our national language. Ajay Devgn, your ignorance is baffling. And it's great that films like KGF, Pushpa and RRR have done so well in the Hindi belt. Art has no language barrier. Please enjoy our films as much as we enjoy yours.
India Today's Karnataka Tak interview with Sudeep has sent ripples across the film and political circles, intensifying this never-ending debate on whether Hindi must be deemed as the national language in a linguistically diverse country like India. Nabila Jamal for India Today.
Likita is now joining us live from Bengaluru. Likita, I do understand that this is a very, very sensitive topic and it has been for a while. But here you have got two actors who are sparring with each other and it is their personal opinion, whatever they feel about whichever language. I mean, the political controversy and to blow it out of proportion, aren't the netas taking it a bit too far?
Yes, Chaiti. Actually, in the interview, I have a question about Pan-India. For that question, Sudeep said that there is no concept of Pan-India. It is just Kannada movies or dubbing to various languages like Hindi, Tamil, Telugu and some other languages. There is no word like a Pan-India. Actually, Hindi movies are also dubbing to Kannada movies. For Hindi or Bollywood cinemas, we won't use Pan-India word. For only Kannada movies, we are using Pan-India. So Pan-India is not the word to use, he said. And also, he said nowadays South Indian movies are having a good marketing space in Bollywood. So we are performing good. So we have a very good market in the Bollywood industry also. So that's why South Indian movies are sounding in Bollywood. So we can't use the word of Pan-India. So we just use the word of Kannada movies or dubbing to various languages, he said.
All right, leave it at that. Likita, thanks so much for joining us with the latest details and the updates on this story. Battle over language takes center stage once again, and this time it's starry language war, with most recent high-profile showdown between actor Ajay Devgn and South superstar Sudeep, a spat has turned into a bigger North-South divide controversy that traces its roots to many such fierce high-profile wars over the language. Take a look at the report on North-South war over the language that has gone national in the past as well. Here is more.
Two superstars locked in a fierce language battle. The ripples of this intense showdown being felt across the country. Kiccha Sudeep and Ajay Devgn didn't hold back on the contentious language debate. And while this may be one of the most high-profile showdowns yet, it's most definitely not the first. Because South Indian superstars have spoken about passionately several times about the North-South divide and the language barrier that they've battled with every film.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is Pan-India? So which is having a better reaction from the audiences today? ಇವತ್ತು ನೀವು ಪುಷ್ಪ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನೀವು KGF ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು.
I'll be very honest, I can't speak much. I can manage to speak, but I definitely know my Hindi is not good enough to, communicate very efficiently. I'm open if there's any great offer or if there's any nice film on my way. I'm definitely open to do a nice Hindi film, a multi-language film. I'm open.
I don't want to go and act in all the industries. I would like to explore. I would like to explore the work culture in every industry, and I would like to learn a lot from all the actors and technicians from all the industries across the globe. But I think I can perform the best in Malayalam.
I think everyone can watch the film from anywhere in the world, any language, with the subtitles, and people are enjoying. So I think now the priority should not be about working in Bollywood or Tollywood or any other industry. I think priority should be about making great content.
The voices are growing louder and bolder as more and more South films are breaking Bollywood box office records.
Hindi is no more national language.
The reactions we see today aren't knee-jerk. There's been a palpable sentiment about the language row for years now, ignored largely so far.
Which is having a better reaction from the audiences today?
Music maestro A.R. Rahman, for example, has never shied away from professing his love for Tamil and taking on any attempt at Hindi imposition. Even recently putting out his tweet purportedly in response to Home Minister Amit Shah's comment on Hindi being the connecting language.
Sir, the Hindi சம்பந்தமா சார் மத்திய அமைச்சர் வந்து இந்த ஹிந்தி சம்பந்தமா சொல்லிருக்காரு இனிப்பு மொழியா இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம தான் இனிப்பு மொழி.
The root of the language debate is in the political back and forth between North Indian and South Indian parties for decades now. And several South stars who usually stay away from controversies have spoken out on this one, clearly backing the stance that Hindi cannot be imposed on anyone. This is just the beginning of superstars now joining the anti-imposition stir, and it looks like Bollywood stars too are bracing in for a big fight. Bureau Report, India Today.
At a time when a massive language war has erupted, there are South cinema movies that have completely shattered the records at the box office. Pushpa, The Rise, RRR, and now KGF 2, 3 back-to-back hits at the box office. Language seems to no longer be a barrier for these movies. Take a look.
Merely 4 months into the year, Indian cinema, once dominated by Bollywood films, is now being rocked by 3 blockbusters, featuring these 4 superstars. KGF 2, a Kannada film made in multiple languages, was released in 4,500 screens across India on April 14th. A number usually reserved for Bollywood A-listers such as Salman Khan. The sequel to a flamboyant 2018 hit about a gangster who fights to take over a gold mine has scripted history by raking in the moolah like no other film.
Businessman, offer closes soon.
Interestingly, this unstoppable super hit came on the heels of Telugu blockbuster RRR, which managed to cross the 1,000 crore rupees mark globally in just 3 weeks and is still drawing crowds in the northern Indian theatres.
British ప్రభుత్వానికి ఎదురు తిరిగిన నేరానికి నేను అరెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను.
Something similar happened when Pushpa, The Rise rolled out. The Allu Arjun film set a new record for the pandemic era by raking in 173 crore rupees within the first 3 days of its release. Fans have ever since been going crazy, imitating Allu Arjun's dialogue to back nationwide success of KGF 2, RRR and Pushpa. 7 years after Telugu blockbuster Bahubali clearly indicates that language is no barrier anymore. Regional cinema now has a whole new market to cater to. With Dipali Patel in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.